It never fails. In the midst of or right after there is a mass shooting, especially a school shooting, Republicans always try to blame everything except the proliferation and the easy access to guns. Now, we thought that the Second Amendment was supposed to be sacrosanct, but we heard this right after the shooting in Minneapolis when Mike Johnson, the House Speaker, was on Fox News. And because the shooter in Minneapolis is reportedly transgender, all of a sudden they want accountability, but they never ask for the same kind of accountability when it is a white male, which is what it is the majority of the time, a big majority of the time. Here's the question, and I'll show you something odd is happening now. Something unusual is happening now. They want to discriminate against certain Americans when it relates to guns. Here's the question he was asked.
Do you think specifically there has to be some sort of accountability on the transgender front?
I think so. I mean, there's a common denominator to so much of this, right? The last one of these school shootings that we all saw and remember was another transgender. I mean, this is a mental health component to this that cannot be overlooked. And I think lawmakers and policymakers need to look at that very carefully.
So there needs to be transgender accountability again, but no young white male accountability. And that's not race baiting. That is the truth. The facts show that transgender people are not only a small part of the population, but a minuscule amount of people who are actually accused of or have participated in school shootings. Okay, and now this report from the GOP. Trump's DOJ is looking at ways to ban transgender Americans from owning guns, sources say. Okay, I thought that every American, it was part of their God-given right, their constitutional right to be able to carry a gun, except for the people you don't like. Here it is. Check out Substack. This is what I wrote because it is so frustrating to hear the hypocrisy coming out of the Republican Party. Trigger warning, Trump's transgender moral panic. When the only gun control Republicans want is the kind that punishes people they already despise. It's okay. They're saying now they would freak out if a Democrat or someone did this, but they're saying it's okay to discriminate against people you don't like, people you despise, against transgender people. So for decades, Republicans have treated the Second Amendment like it came down on stone tablets from Mount Sinai, that it was sacred, that it is absolute, immune to compromise, a constitutional commandment handed directly from God to the GOP. But it turns out there is a loophole after all, and that loophole is being transgender, of course. All right. So what's next? Let's ban Black people from having guns. Let's ban Latinos from having. Let's ban women from having guns. Like, they came for this group and I didn't say anything, and then finally they came for me and there was no one to stand up for me. Okay, regardless of how you feel about transgender people, they're still Americans. Okay, so yes, you read that right. Donald Trump's gun-obsessed Republican Party, the same one that cheers for open carry in church and stand your ground in the grocery store, is now quietly considering whether gender dysphoria should disqualify someone from owning a firearm. The Department of Justice is weighing a proposal that would lump transgender Americans in with felons and the adjudicated mentally ill. This is the party you have to remember that treats every bullet like it was manna from heaven, like it's a holy gift from the Almighty, is finally contemplating major gun control. Can you imagine if the only time or the first time that we get some major gun control is as it relates to transgender people? That would be interesting. Not for the AR-15. That's not what they're considering. The AR-15 gun-toting militia dressing up as patriots. Not for the angry young men radicalized online before shooting up schools. No, the only people they are willing to target make up less than 1% of the U.S. population. This idea did not come out of nowhere. It follows a horrific church shooting in Minneapolis that we have been discussing. carried out by someone identified as a transgender woman. Conservative lawmakers and pundits pounced instantly, spinning the tragedy into a blanket narrative. All trans people are dangerous, unstable, and armed to kill. Come on now. Come on now. The facts are otherwise. They say otherwise. These are facts. I know that people have a hard time with facts right now. Trans people make up less than 1% of the population, as I said. They have been implicated in just 0.11%, not 11%, but 0.11% of mass shootings over the last decade. But facts rarely matter in a movement built on grievance, paranoia, and of course, fear. I mean, fueled by the NRA, you got to have some fear in order to keep people in control, in order to keep them donating, in order to keep them, to co-opt them, to continually co-opt them. If the DOJ moves forward, this will not be an isolated policy. It is the latest in a drumbeat of persecution during Trump's second term. Erasing federal recognition of gender identity, blocking access to gender-affirming care, rolling back protections in the military, removing trans identities from government forms. The proposed gun ban is not a mistake. It is the next step in a deliberate campaign to make transgender people second-class citizens. So here's the irony in all of this, okay? The Washington Post reported that more transgender people are arming themselves because they feel unsafe in Trump's America. So this proposal could actually accelerate the very thing that it claims to fear, and that is more guns in the hands of people who feel that they are under siege. Paranoia fuels armament. Armament fuels paranoia. The snake eats its own tail. It is a vicious cycle. Meanwhile, the real crisis continues. And this is a real crisis, okay? This is probably the most important thing that you're going to hear from me in this article. Children in classrooms, the crisis continues. That the tragedy of children dying in classrooms. Children in classrooms, worshipers in churches, shoppers in grocery stores, just regular old ordinary Americans. They keep dying because the GOP refuses to pass universal background checks, assault weapon bans, or red flag laws, measures that could actually do some real help, could actually really save lives, okay? The only gun control conservatives can stomach is the kind that punishes people they already despise. For them, the Second Amendment is not about freedom or safety. It is about wielding power in the culture war. Once again, the cruelty is the point. Support comes from Delete Me. Look, I have been in the public eye for a very long time, and one thing that I've learned is that your personal data is always at risk of being exposed, sold, or used against you. Now, even if you're not a journalist or a public figure, your name, your phone number, your home address, even details about your family can be bought online by anyone. That can lead to scams, harassment, and identity theft. Now, I've had moments where people dug up more information about me than I was comfortable with, and I can tell you it is unsettling. Privacy isn't just a luxury, it is protection. So Delete Me makes it easy and safe to remove your personal information from data broker sites that profit off of your family. They do the heavy lifting for you, scouring the web, submitting opt-out requests, and keeping your data from resurfacing. So take control of your privacy and keep your life private with Delete Me. And right now, you can get 20% off your plan just for being a listener. Text DON to 64000 to get started. That's DON, D-O-N, to 64000. Message and data rates may apply. Support comes from Mint Mobile. Now, listen, nothing kills summer vibes faster than opening up a wireless bill that looks like a second rent payment. Now, your phone should be connecting you, not draining your wallet. That's why I love what Mint Mobile is doing. With Mint, you get the same reliable coverage and high-speed data that you're used to, but for a fraction of the cost. And right now, they're offering new customers 3 months of unlimited premium wireless for just $15 a month. My team has tried it out, and you wouldn't even know the difference between the big carriers and this one. Calls are crystal clear, data is fast, and the service is every bit as strong as those big carriers. The only difference, the price. So this year, don't break the bank for your phone bill. Make the smart switch. Go to mintmobile.com and grab 3 months of unlimited premium wireless for just $15 a month. That's mintmobile.com/DonLemon, mintmobile.com/DonLemon. I need to tell you that an upfront payment of $45 is required. Limited time offer for new customers only. Taxes and fees are extra, so see Mint Mobile for details. Thanks to all of our sponsors. I want to bring in now Dr. Frida. Dr. Frida, thank you. You heard what I said here. You heard what I wrote. Give us some facts. We said these transgender people are less than 1% of the population, and 0.11, not 11%, 0.11, that's less than 1% of the shooters.
Right. So we know, Don, that clearly with them being 0.11% of the shooters, that they're not the problem. And we know who most of the shooters are. We're talking about white males who identify themselves as being heterosexual. This has been going on, and all of the Republican lawmakers go mute if you ask them, what should we do? Oh, it's mental health. Oh, don't take away our guns. But as soon as they have a reason to show hate toward a community that's already marginalized, the trans community, then they come up with this ridiculousness. And it's really sad because I'll tell you, Don, I do have patients who are transgender. I have some transgender female patients, transgender women mostly. And already you're dealing with people who, if they didn't feel that they were born that way, there's no way they would go through being ostracized by their families, ostracized by friends, by loved ones, trying to get gender affirming care. So already you're dealing with a community who receives so much hate. For them to add on a political level, it's just really inhumane. And I really have to say, I'm not shocked, but it saddens me that they took this cheap route as soon as they saw that one shooter, was possibly, someone who identifies as transgender, but there's no type of a medical basis saying that transgender people are more violent, have, more mental illness, are dangerous. And so the thought of them even contemplating taking guns away from transgender human beings is really sad.
Yeah. So Doctor, thank you for that. And we know, let's talk about facts here, because gender dysphoria, this was previously classified as a mental illness in the Diagnostic and Statistical Manual of Mental Disorders. However, this classification has changed in recent years. It has been removed, and the removal of gender dysphoria as a mental illness diagnosis reflects a shift in understanding the societal attitudes towards transgender individuals. It is important to emphasize that gender dysphoria is not a condition that requires medical treatment or intervention unless it is causing significant distress or impairment in daily functioning. And so that means that people should seek help for mental health issues, regardless of your gender identity or background or anything, or racial ethnicity. But it is not considered a mental illness for transgender people to be put in a category, as has said by this possible proposal of people who are adjudicated and have mental health illness, is simply wrong.
It's simply wrong, and there's no data to support it. And its only purpose is to increase hate, increase fear against this marginalized community. But there's no evidence, no data. And I'd be surprised if the very people who are reportedly behind even the idea, the notion of needing to do something about these trans people and these trans people who are shooting, I'd be surprised if they even believed it. It just feels like it's just one more thing, just a little piece of hate thrown at a community, which sadly seems to be the norm in a lot of ways in the world we're living in right now.
Yeah, in a world that is increasingly becoming hate-filled and pitting Americans against each other, and not looking out for the most vulnerable in our society. It is really sad at this point. Dr. Frida, thank you very much. We appreciate you.
Oh, my pleasure.
Thank you very much. And if you care to read the Substack, you can go to donlemon.com, check it out at donlemon.com, and then click on Substack, and you can read it from there. So there it is up on your screen, and all you have to do is click on Substack and it will be there. Okay, so thank you so much for joining us. I want to know exactly what you think in the comments about this. Share your comments, share your thoughts. We're always open to them here at the Don Lemon Show. Thanks for watching, everybody. Thanks everyone for watching. Your support means the world to us. So make sure you hit the like button and you subscribe to our channel to make sure that you never ever miss a video. We're live every day, 10 a.m. Eastern time. We drop even more content at 2 p.m. Eastern and 5 p.m. Eastern. And if you want more Don Lemon Show content, we'd love for you to become a member of the Lemon community, where you will receive access to special community posts. You'll get exclusive content and members-only live shows. So head over to our channel page or click the join button on this video. Again, thank you for watching. We appreciate your love and your support, and we will see you next time.